How important is the choice of a location for a chiropractic office? Well, you might be surprised to know that while many chiropractors simply obsess over finding the absolute perfect high traffic corner spot with great visibility, or then they complain that their location is holding them back. Now, many practices in strip malls and even residential areas are quietly building large 6 and 7-figure plus businesses or practices. Hey, I'm Dr. Chris Tomshack, and after building HealthSource into one of America's fastest growing chiropractic franchises, I've watched practices in all types of locations, premium locations, struggle, while others in seemingly terrible spots, they thrive consistently. Now, the difference isn't foot traffic, it's not visibility, it's not proximity to other similar offices or hospitals. It's understanding what actually influences patients' decisions. And that's important because that's what's taking place in today's healthcare marketplace. Very different than in years past. Now, most practitioners believe the old retail rule, and you've heard it, that success is location, location, location. It's everything. But that's old school thinking, and that keeps them trapped in many times really expensive leases while missing the factors that genuinely drive patient choices. And that's the important part. The practices that are generating the most consistent new patient flow as well as patient retention, they've cracked the code on what patients really care about when choosing doctors. So today I'm going to reveal the 3 decision-making factors that really matter more than location, and then I'm going to show you how to leverage these insights regardless of where your practice is situated. This is important. They're nuts and bolts steps. So we're going to cover the trust signals that override the convenience concerns that a lot of chiropractors have. It's the accessibility factors that matter more than physical proximity to an office, and the positioning strategies that make patients travel further for your care than you might think that they're willing to do. Now, I've worked with HealthSource franchisees who've built thriving practices in locations other chiropractors said would never work, while at the same time watching competitors in really premium high dollar spaces struggle with new patient acquisition. Now, the principles I'm sharing today will help transform how you think about practice positioning and patient attraction. So if you find interest in the topic thus far, I'd be writing down some notes here as we move forward. But here's what most chiropractors completely miss. That patients are going to drive. They're willing to drive past far closer options or competitors when they find doctors who make them feel confident about their healthcare decisions. Confidence, that's what we're talking about here. So the first breakthrough principle is trust over proximity, also known as trust over location. It's understanding that patients, they prioritize feeling safe and confident in their doctor choice over simple convenience factors like how far away are they and how difficult it is to park there. Now, most location decisions focus on physical accessibility while ignoring the emotional accessibility factors that actually drive patient behavior. It's about what's going on up here. I've observed across our HealthSource network in 38 states that practices building strong trust signals with their community, with their patient base, they consistently attract patients from surprising distances, far more than you might think. And while practices in convenient locations, which perhaps what you might consider a stellar location, but have weak trust positioning, they struggle to attract or even retain the local patient base. Now, these successful doctors, they understand that healthcare decisions are high-stakes choices. They truly are for their patients. And it matters most about trust. It's where trust trumps convenience every single time. So think about your own healthcare decisions, those that you make about you, perhaps your family. Now, when you need important care, maybe it's a dentist, maybe you broke a tooth or what have you, or you broke an ankle, do you automatically choose the closest doctor? Or do you research? You take the time to research options. You ask people. You query your circle until you find someone who you trust completely before you ever make that appointment. Now, most people do the same thing. They'll travel significant distances for healthcare providers who make them feel confident and cared for. So it's those practices that excel at patient attraction and focus their energy on building trust indicators that patients can evaluate easily. such as online reviews or certainly patient testimonials. Now, we're not talking about the old school patient testimonial book. It goes far deeper than that. They also like professional presentation and clear communication about their approach and expertise. That's what patients are looking for. So here's how you build trust over location or trust over proximity. First, develop systematic approaches to gathering and showcasing authentic, real patient success stories that demonstrate real results or outcomes and a caring relationship rather than just clinical outcomes. So second, create educational content that really positions you as a knowledgeable expert who genuinely cares about patient education and empowerment rather than just service promotion. This is important. And the third one, ensure that every single patient interaction, every single one that you have every single day, every minute of every single day, from phone calls to office visits to adjustments to what you see them at the grocery store, that it reinforces your competence and your caring attitude, because trust builds through consistent positive experiences. It's not a one and done thing. Now, this approach makes your practice the obvious choice for patients who discover you, regardless of how many closer options or competitors exist in their world. But building trust is meaningless without the right accessibility factors that patients actually value today. Now, let's move forward. The second game-changing principle is what I call convenience redefined. Convenience redefined. And that is, to put it simply, it's recognizing that modern patients, today's patients, they care more about scheduling flexibility, about communication responsiveness, and service efficiency than they do about the location, the traditional location conveniences like, is parking easy, or can I get there on foot? Now, most practices optimize for the outdated convenience factors while missing often entirely, the accessibility preferences that actually influence patients' decisions today. Now, I've seen practices transform their new patient acquisition by just understanding that today's busy patients value time efficiency and scheduling accommodation more than physical proximity or location. Now, these doctors create convenience through really responsive service and flexible options rather than relying on location advantages. So consider how patients define convenience in other areas of their lives. You know what? They choose service providers who respond quickly, accommodate their schedules, and make interactions efficient and pleasant. Everything from chiropractors to medical appointments to barbers to getting their car worked on. The same preferences apply to healthcare. Patients want providers who respect their time and make care easily accessible through service quality. I mean, really high service quality. Now, the most successful practices I work with today, they create convenience through excellent systems rather than excellent locations. They make it easy to schedule appointments, quick to get questions answered, and simple to understand treatment plans and expectations that are very, very clearly laid out and very simply explained. So here's how you create modern convenience factors. First, implement scheduling systems that accommodate your patient's preferences today, offering perhaps early morning, evening, or weekend options that work around their busy lives rather than just standard business hours. So it works around their life rather than the ease and convenience of the clinic. It values them first, putting your patients first. So second, establish communication protocols that provide really quick responses to patient questions and concerns, and multiple channels with which to do so, whether it's phone, email, patient portals, or dashboards that make interaction convenient for them. Now, third, streamline your patient experience to minimize wait times. They shouldn't have to wait. If you've got more than 3 chairs in your waiting room, well, that's what it is, a waiting room instead of a reception room. So you shouldn't need those chairs. You should be moving efficiently. Simplify paperwork. You shouldn't have any paperwork for your patients anymore. It should all be digital. And create efficient visit flows that really respect their time constraints. They shouldn't 0 to minimal wait time. This approach creates accessibility that busy patients actually value while differentiating your practice from competitors who rely on location advantages alone and not the convenience factors that patients really want. But even perfect convenience fails without the right market positioning strategy. That was 2. Now, number 3. The third breakthrough is what we call expertise positioning over geographic positioning. It's understanding that patients will travel significant distances, far more than the average 5 miles that people talk about that'll drive to a chiropractor. That's wrong. Not if you're employing the principles that we're talking about here. Patients will travel significant distances for specialists that they perceive as uniquely qualified for their specific needs. This is all important, while avoiding closer providers who seem kind of generic or interchangeable. I'm talking about, I'm really talking about the old school adjustment factories here that don't focus on optimizing patient outcomes. Most practices try to serve everyone in their immediate area rather than becoming the obvious choice for specific patient types. I mean, I've watched practices achieve just simply remarkable growth by positioning themselves as the clear experts, the obvious experts for particular conditions or demographics or treatment approaches, rather than competing as general chiropractors in their geographic market. So these doctors understand that specialization creates attraction, and that attraction can overcome location disadvantages. And the most successful HealthSource franchisees I work with, they become known not for general care, they become known for specific expertise, especially things like herniated discs. Of course, you have to have the technology to be able to handle them, or other things like sports injuries, or workplace wellness, or family health optimization, rather than trying to be everything to everyone in your community. This positioning makes them the obvious choice, the obvious expert for patients with really or those specific needs, regardless of distance that they need to travel. This is where comprehensive service offerings become particularly valuable in today's marketplace. Programs like Apex Longevity, they allow you to position your practice as a complete wellness solution rather than just pain relief. Creating additional reasons for patients to choose you over more convenient competitors who offer more limited services. So here's how you develop expertise positioning. First, I identify specific patient populations or conditions where you can build genuine expertise and reputation. So it's focusing your marketing and your service development, your CEUs, if you will, your professional development around these specializations, rather than generic chiropractic care. And then second, create educational content and community presence that establishes your authority in these specific areas. I'm not trying to turn you into a content provider or a content creator, although that is part of the job, absolutely. And so you will become, if you do so, the obvious expert choice for patients with those related needs. And then third, develop service packages or treatment approaches that are uniquely suited to your chosen specializations, giving patients clear reasons to choose your expertise, your clinic, over the other one-size-fits-all or generic options. And so when patients see you as the specialist, you as the go-to person for perhaps herniated disc resolution or for their specific situation rather than just another chiropractor, they're willing to invest extra time. They're willing to invest extra travel to access your expertise. So, are you ready to discover how successful HealthSource franchisees are leveraging these positioning principles to build regional practices that attract patients from multiple markets? Visit HealthSourceChiro.com for more information on our offerings. Now, please, if you found some value here, like, follow, share, say something kind, and then have an amazing day. Take care.